You've probably heard this rule that floats around that the third date you have with someone is the sex date. If you're wondering whether or not you should follow the third date rule, this video is for you. I'm Dr. Alexandra Solomon. I'm a couples therapist, a professor, and a writer, and I'm passionate about helping people have the tools and skills they need to create happy and healthy romantic relationships. So, our public conversations about love and about sex and about intimate relationships are chock full of rules and scripts and advice. And while that's all well and good, the problem with rules is that they take you out of a creative conversation, both with yourself and with the person that you're with. A rule invites you automatically to disconnect from your internal thoughts, feelings, beliefs, values, and hook yourself on to somebody else's notions of what success looks like and how to get to success. Here's the thing that we know for sure. Dating is a highly scripted activity. In fact, our world is full of scripts, and scripts are not in and of themselves dangerous, bad, or wrong. In fact, scripts function oftentimes as like these energetic shortcuts. So think about walking into a restaurant. There's a restaurant script that we all basically know, and it helps us know which people in the restaurant have which roles and what's going to happen first, second, third, and then who and how we need to be as the customer in the restaurant. So a helpful energetic shortcut, but problematic when it comes to love, because love and scripts don't go so well together. It kind of flattens out the whole experience. Most problematic about the dating script or the sexual script is that it's super heterosexual in its nature. In fact, research has found that gender role expectations and then punishments for not obeying those gender role expectations are at their most intense around sexual scripting. And so that sexual script is a heterosexual script that says that he's the initiator and she's the gatekeeper. It's been around for thousands of years, and it limits what's possible, and it puts each person in a role that can be kind of limiting and not creative. When it comes to, so when we think about the third date rule, it kind of sets this expectation that people ought to be ready for it, that's how it ought to go. And it puts a ton of pressure on each partner. For example, if there is somebody in this pair who's been acculturated in the feminine, she may be thinking that she has to honor this third date rule, because to have sex before the third date would make her a slut, and to wait after the third date to have sex would make her a prude. And that's that awful razor's edge that women often feel like they walk. And again, it takes her sexuality and puts it as a thing out there versus her figuring out from the inside out when and how she might know that she's ready. And same thing for him, by the way. We've painted a rather narrow, uninteresting script about male sexuality, that he's always ready, and that it's kind of this like static, simple kind of a thing, which I think, given the fact that I've been couples therapist for 20 years, I know that is not the interior story and experience of most of the men that I've known. The biggest problem with a script that expects a third date sexual encounter is that it keeps the people from having an interesting conversation with each other, and it keeps each person from having an interesting conversation with themselves. So what I'd like to invite you to do is to ask yourself this question: how do I know when I'm ready to enter a sexual space with a new partner? How do I know when I'm ready to have sex? What are the relational cues? How is it that I feel in the space with this person that lets me know that taking that next step and creating some sexual intimacy would feel really good and fun and rewarding? What are the cues inside of me? How do I feel inside my body? Body, heart, mind, soul, the whole thing. What are the cues inside of me that let me know? So that first conversation is with yourself about boundaries. Where are your boundaries? What are the messages that you've been given about where your boundaries should be? To what degree do those boundaries that you've internalized really work for you? Do you need a new kind of sense of your own boundaries that would guide? So allowing the decision making to come from the inside out. How is it you want to be feeling when you know that you're ready to kind of enter that next phase or the next stage? Much more interesting, enriching, intimacy cultivating than some sort of static notion that it ought to happen by this time. And if it doesn't happen by this time, it means something's horridly wrong. Bottom line, you need and deserve a rich conversation with your internal compass, and then you deserve to create a conversation in the space between you and that person and allow that to be what guides you into that next stage. So there you have it, brave love warrior. Start making that shift from rules to reflection. And for more on love, sex, and intimacy, sign up for my newsletter.